Morning, you're watching Traders Next Door. I'm your host, Ed Katashabe from Forex Insights SA, and this is the Daily Scoop. Non-farm payroll is the word of the day. We are all eagerly anticipating one of the most traded news events in the world, and this one is going to be a very interesting one. One of the reasons being is the Fed is going to be watching very closely as to what happens at today's NFP. The US economy has been taking shots as of late, between the market being priced perfectly for perfect conditions as we announced that Donald Trump was going to take over the presidency, but those perfect conditions did not quite come. Between the tech sector taking massive shorts in the last couple months, Donald Trump's ever-growing love for tariffs and inflation running a riot as of late, the markets has not been as favorable as was predicted. The reality of the situation has been very different. And right now, the Fed has a lot of work to do in the coming months to undo some of the damage that has been done. Inflation right now is a lot higher than where the Fed wants it. They did a lot of good work cutting rates last year, but a lot of that has been undone in the last several months. We saw CPI last month come in at 3%, which came as a shock to the system. And we saw NFP last month also come at 143,000, down from the previous 307,000 jobs. So things are looking a little bit on the dire side. We also saw unemployment, which is not looking great right now. Last week's unemployment claims coming in at 242,000, up from the previous 222,000. ADP, which came out a couple days ago, NFP's private cousin, gave 77,000 jobs, half of the expected 141,000. And whereas unemployment took a little bit of a turn up this last week, experts are still expecting that we are going to have quite a harsh NFP coming out later today. Right now, NFP is expected to come out at 159,000 and unemployment being at 4%. Any surprises, however, to those figures, and there is going to be a lot of volatility in the market. Right now, the Fed is going to be watching what's going to happen at this NFP reading. They're going to be watching closely at the next CPI reading, and that is going to paint the picture of what the Fed needs to do in the short to medium term. Last year, we did 4 rate cuts. At the last NFP meeting, they decided to hold off on any more rate cuts and go with the wait and see approach. We are going to use this data. They're going to use this data to predict what's going to happen moving forward. Are they going to continue to cut rates? Are they going to pause on all rate decisions, or even hike rates? Right now, Donald Trump's decisions to go into tariff wars with all these other nations is putting a bit of a spanner in the works and causing things to be a little bit tricky. Tariffs are inflationary in nature, so that's part of the reason why inflation has ticked up in the last couple months. And the Fed has been trying to get inflation back down to 2% since the beginning of last year, really. So those two goals are a little bit at odds with each other. Now, how Donald Trump's tariffs affect inflation is going to be determined by how big the tariffs are and how long they go on for, and which countries exactly are being targeted. Right now, the tariffs on Canada have been paused, and the tariffs on Mexico have also been paused, awaiting further negotiations. But right now, the US is in a little bit of a dire point. Donald Trump really loves tariffs right now. The reasons why he loves tariffs change week to week, but the fact that he loves them and sees them as an economic vehicle towards U.S. Economic supremacy remains the same. So the tariffs aren't going to go anywhere anytime soon. He's not going to bump them down to zero, but how big of a tariff we get in these countries is going to be the determining factor of how big a deal it's all going to be. So the Fed has its work cut out for it. It's going to be a very interesting time. And in the meantime, it's going to mean a lot of volatility for us as traders. So right now, going into the NFP result today, The experts are not expecting a great NFP print, so we're going to have to wait and see exactly what the figures come out as. Right now, the targets that they have predicted on are really easy to beat, so any miss of those targets to the negative side is going to result in a lot of one-way traffic, which as a trader is some ideal circumstances to find yourself in. So if you want to take advantage of this, go ahead and get yourself a Vault Funder Challenge account. You can use the code FISA and get yourself 30% off any two-step challenge today. There's going to be a lot of moves in the market today. The moves are likely going to be big. You do not want to miss out on that. You can click the link down below to purchase your account today and make some money. I've been Ed Katashabe. This has been Traders Next Door, and you have just heard the Daily Scoop.